Welcome back to the Carolina Care Show. I'd like to welcome in from the Department of Insurance, Director Ray Farmer into the studio. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Rob. I'm fine, thank you.
It's great to have you in with us today, and we're going to talk about your campaign, the Carolina Cares Don't Text and Drive. The big question, though, is why is the department hosting this campaign?
Well, Rob, I certainly appreciate the opportunity for us to sit and chat for a few minutes about this extremely important subject. Distracted driving is just a bad habit of which we are all guilty of. You can't really go down the street nowadays without seeing a driver close by either doing something, either texting or talking on the phone or eating or something to take their eyes off the roadway and not paying attention to driving. And so when that happens, bad things result. So we have a lot of accidents in this state. There's been a recent survey that says South Carolina drivers are the third worst drivers in the country. And that's kind of borne out. That fact is borne out by, unfortunately, we have we're number one in the deaths per 100 million miles driven in the country. We've had over 1,000 people to die on South Carolina roads in 2016.
And when you say those numbers, it's just a shocking thing. I mean, but numbers, as I say with my buddies when we talk about sports with baseball or basketball or whatever, numbers don't lie. I mean, and we're leading in that number, and it's really bad. But I didn't have any idea that our state was that high on the list.
We didn't either, quite honestly. But when we look behind the numbers, we see, lives, people being affected, families being affected. For over 1,000 of our citizens or folks that travel on our roadways to die in 1 year. That's just a tremendously high number. And some of it is because of distracted driving. Probably the statistics show probably about 30% of that may be distracted driving. So it's a bad behavior that we can correct when we want to.
And you mentioned that, but I mean, it is tough when you really stop to think about it, it's hard to actually drive down the road and pay attention as you read text or answer an email or as, I've actually seen people shaving as they're going down the road. I mean, but, it's just something that we deal with now, especially with the electronic age. And that's something that we just have to try to curtail, right?
We do, but it is awful hard when you hear your phone buzz or when it rings. Your natural instinct is to look at it and to see whether it's a text or call or whatever. But when you take time to text, generally it's over 5 seconds. And if you're going down the highway at 55 miles an hour, you take your eyes away from driving for 5 seconds, you've traveled the length of at least one football field blindfolded.
Well, I mean, when you put it like that, it makes me want to stop and think about the way that I'm driving. What are some things that we can do to make us safer drivers? That way we can actually go down on this list instead of being near the top.
Well, there are at least three things that we can do that actually to comply with the law itself. And number one is buckle up when you get in the car. We've had a number of instances lately when there's been accidents and people have not been buckled. And, they become a flying object, when a severe crash occurs. So buckle up when you get in the car. Obviously, that's the law. Put down the phone when you're driving. It can wait. There's no text worth whatever the bad result is going to be. It can wait for a few minutes. And then finally, it goes without saying, do not drink and drive.
And, a lot of that stuff sounds like common sense, but obviously here in South Carolina, there's, especially with the distracted end of it, we could do a lot better. But you can actually take the pledge, and that's important too, right?
We have a campaign underway right now, and if folks would go to our website, which is doi.sc.gov, and on that website you'll see a pledge not to drive and text or drive distractedly. And we'd ask that you review the pledge, take the pledge, and then honor the pledge and drive safer.
And, of course, it is really simple. Go to doi.sc.gov. And you also mentioned you could talk with your insurance agent or your rep about insurance companies and their phone companies that offer free apps, right, that can help out as well, right?
That's correct. There are some apps that will disable the texting mechanism, especially for parents.
I was thinking about that. I mean, my niece is going to be at the age here shortly where she's going to want to be driving, and I know she's always texting. That might be something that could be viable, right?
It is indeed, and it's a safety factor. I have a 17-year-old grandson that when he drives someplace and he finishes that journey, his parents get a text saying Zachary has driven his 5 miles and the top speed was 43 miles an hour, and he's at his location safely. So there are all kind of apps that will assist parents and give them peace of mind.
So, I mean, it is important to really think about those things. And of course, adding when you add teenagers to the mix, I mean, a lot of them really don't think about that kind of thing. But I mean, this is a campaign we want teenagers to be involved with as well, right?
Oh, exactly. And naturally, we would think that the younger folks, teenagers, and people in their early 20s would be more prone to texting and driving than older adults. That's not actually the case. I mean, we all do it. It doesn't matter the age of a person. We're all tempted by looking at that cell phone and trying to figure out who just texted us or called. So we're all guilty of that behavior. But as younger drivers, sometimes we're not paying attention anyway. So we need to encourage our younger drivers to really put the phone down.
And there is big incentive for younger drivers if they love music, because here at iHeartMedia, we are giving away tickets to the Carolina Country Music Festival down in Myrtle Beach. And it's accommodations. It's a great trip, especially for younger people. They really like this down on the beach. You've got all kinds of great country music acts coming to Myrtle Beach. If you go online to the website right now, doi.sc.gov, and register and take the pledge, you'll be entered into a drawing where iHeartMedia will give you tickets to the Carolina Country Music Festival. All right, so this is all great information you brought us in this morning, and thank you so much for sharing it with us. And, of course, we want everyone to go to the website. And the website one more time?
And, Rob, that website is doi.sc.gov.
And, of course, you want to sign the pledge. And, of course, it's not just signing it. You need to honor the pledge once you sign it, because as you told us before, as you told us at the beginning of the interview, it could be a matter of life and death.
It is indeed, Rob. Thanks.
All right, Mr. Farmer, thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in just a moment on Carolina Cares.